Welcome to this Pilates tutorial on single leg stretch, the classical Pilates exercise that kicks off the abdominal series, also known as the stomach series or the series of 5. As always, we will discuss alignment and anatomy, modifications, and common mistakes. I'm Sharon. Thank you for joining me at Living Breathing Pilates. So the abs series is well known and, dare I say, well loved by Pilates enthusiasts around the world. So in my next several videos, I'll be breaking down each exercise in the series one at a time, 1 through 5. And then I'll be posting 2 practice videos of the entire series for an abdominal strengthening mini workout that you can do anytime. So today's move of the month is the single leg stretch, number 1 in the series. Let's break it down. So I like to teach this exercise in 4 stages. Stage 1 is the legs. You interlace your fingers and you place them on top of one knee. As you draw that knee gently to your chest, you reach the opposite leg forward. Switching the legs side to side, keeping the pace slow and steady. Now the pattern of the legs is pretty straightforward. The challenge is stabilizing the pelvis so that it stays neutral. Generally speaking, a neutral pelvis is the place where your 2 front hip points, left and right, and your pubic bone in the middle are all on the same plane, like a triangle lying completely flat. Anterior tilt would be the pubic bone dipping down, and posterior tilt is when the pubic bone is tipping up. Neutral is when that triangle is flat. So everyone is different, and you'll have to inquire into what's happening in your pelvis as you do this exercise. But often, as you reach a leg forward, your pelvis will tilt forward, and you'll need to actively engage your transverse abdominis, the deepest, lowest abdominal muscles that act as stabilizers, as well as the lower fibers of the rectus abdominis, to draw the pubic bone back to neutral. The bad news is this is pretty hard to maintain. The good news is you'll never be bored again. Stage 2, adding the upper body. So what you'll do is an upper abdominal curl, keeping the chin away from the chest and lengthening the neck. Both the front and back of the neck stay long. You'll press the entire rib cage firmly into the mat to peel the upper spine off of the mat. So here you are kicking in the upper fibers of the rectus abdominis, all of your internal and external oblique muscles, as well as the serratus anterior, a muscle on the front side of your shoulder blades. Stage 3, the coordination of the arms. Sometimes confusing at first, but with practice this becomes second nature. When the left knee is in, it's the left hand that moves down to the ankle, the right hand is at the knee. When the right knee is in, it's the right hand down at the ankle with the left hand at the knee. So left knee into the chest, left hand at the ankle, right knee into the chest, right hand at the ankle. One way to remember this is that it's the outside arm that wraps around to the ankle. Now, on the left side here, if I do the wrong arm placement, notice how it's possible to pull the knee way out of alignment. Whereas if you do the correct coordination, the legs feel like they stay on their tracks, so to speak, as you do the exercise. Finally, stage 4, the 2-way stretch of the legs. This is perhaps less visually noticeable, but energetically you emphasize the pull of the knee that's in with an equal but opposing push of the leg that's out. A sense of stretching from one knee to the opposite foot, as if pulling on 2 ends of an elastic band. It's only after you have established a strong, stable pelvis and core will this emphasis make this exercise much more effective. So the 2-way stretch is this internal dynamic sense of push and pull that creates more power in the body, and it's a defining characteristic of the Pilates method. So now let's talk about modifications. So traditionally, a more beginner version of single leg stretch would have the reaching leg going higher on an angle It's generally considered easier to engage the abdominals and keep a neutral pelvis when the legs are reaching higher. If you feel a lot of neck tension, I suggest practicing with a 9-inch inflatable ball behind the head and neck, like the triad ball you see me using here. The ball supports your head weight, so you can focus on engaging your core muscles and finding length through your neck without having to strain it. Okay, the two most common mistakes in single leg stretch. The first is having the head hang back in what I call no man's land, neither fully up nor resting down, and that is very taxing on the neck. If you find yourself there, just give yourself a moment for the head to rest on the mat, and when you lift back up, make sure that upper core really engages and the upper spine comes up with your head. The second most common mistake is the timing of the switch. See if you can spot it. In this first version, I'm playing it safe, and my legs come almost all the way in before I switch the grip of my hands, as opposed to having the legs switch out farther away from my torso, with a distinct moment where the hands are not touching either leg. Now, as the tempo increases, it's harder to see, but if you try it, you will feel this version is significantly more challenging. Okay, thanks for joining me here. I hope you found some helpful tips in this video. Like I said, I'm going to be breaking down each exercise in the Classical Pilates ab series one at a time. So be sure to subscribe and click the bell if you'd like to be notified when those new videos post. And until then, thanks for watching. Move well, be well.